What's up, people? It's your girl Adiola. By now you must have heard the trending story in Nigeria about a popular photographer, Busola who's also the wife of Timi Dakolo, in a 4-part video where she narrated how popular Pastor Fatoyinbo, the founder of the Commonwealth of Zion Church, COZA, allegedly raped her as a teenager after she finished secondary school. Now, I'm not here to throw stones at anyone. I'm not here to say that he did it or not. I actually want to address something different. Although, if you ask for my personal opinion about this, I believe Busola 100%. And yes, I have my own reasons and I stand with her. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. I'm not here to talk about my opinion of whether he did it or not. I actually want to talk about our attitude as Nigerians, our attitude as Africans when someone says that they are raped or they've been abused, even if it's a long time ago, how we react and the effect of how we react, especially how it's preventing a lot of people from speaking up about what's happened to them. Yes, I'm aware that some people can lie that they were raped. Some people can frame other people that they were raped, and I'm going to talk about that as well. But I'm just making this video to educate people because sometimes people just don't know better. And I'm begging of you to please be open-minded as you listen to what I'm going to say in this video, regardless of your stand on this issue. Hopefully, at least one person will benefit from watching this video. Now, many people have been saying that they need to hear the side of Pastor Fatoyinbo, and I think that's wonderful. I think it's good to hear both sides of the story. It's only a sensible thing to do. Although I don't know if we would hear Pastor Fatoyinbo's side, because going by what happened in 2013 when Asa Walter accused him of rape and the story was everywhere on the internet, he said at that time that God told him not to say anything. And you know, that case was swept under the carpet and he acted like nothing happened. He never addressed it and he moved on. I'm not saying that he's a rapist, but that was a shock for so many of us. I mean, if someone should accuse you of rape, naturally you would fight back and prove your innocence. I mean, imagine your child saying that one uncle or one auntie raped him or her, and you confronted the person and the person says, God told me not to talk. This is not a laughing matter, I don't want to talk. But can you even say something like that in court? Of course not. So saying that God told you not to say anything, to so many of us, that was BS. And then there has been several cases after Asa Walter that he never addressed any. I mean, you know, there was the case of a married lady. There was also the case of a lady that he went to her house very early in the morning as well, but she refused to open the door. There was also another girl who was allegedly suspended from the church when she spoke out about what happened, and he never addressed any of these allegations publicly. So hopefully he will address this one in church tomorrow. I know that he released a press statement. For the first time, he released a press statement, and you know, he posted that on his Instagram, on his social media pages, saying that he never raped anyone and threatening to sue Busola Dakolo. And I'll talk about that later. But while we're waiting to hear his side of the story, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about things that we need to stop doing as a people in order for people to be able to share their experience. Otherwise, less and less people will share their experience of what happened to them. And this is because I've seen all kinds of comments online. Comments like, why didn't she speak up before now? What took her so long? She's just trying to frame Fatoyinbo because he's successful. How is it possible for one person to rape you twice in a week? You know, oh, she must have enjoyed it. Why can't she just move on? Why does she have to bring it up now? You know, how is it possible for someone to rape you in your own house while your sister is sleeping upstairs? I mean, so many questions that I've seen people asking on social media. That's why I wanted to talk about this issue. Now, before I address this, you know, it looks to me like so many people still don't know how powerful the side effects of rape can be, and the fact that victims go through a lot and they process it differently because we're all wired differently. But if you grew up in Nigeria, you probably remember popular newscaster Tokunbo Ajayi of NTA, who died in August of 2000. People don't always talk about what happened before she died. The fact that her armed robbers went to her house, not only did they rob, but they also raped her. And you know, she reported the robbery, but she never talked about the rape. You know, it was never public. She did not report the rape. This woman was like the face of NTA news at that time, well-traveled, well-educated. It's not like she didn't know that she was supposed to report, but it's hard to talk about it. When the robbers were arrested at that time, the robbers were the ones who confessed that besides robbing the house, they also raped someone. All we know is Tokunbo Ajayi flew to London shortly after that, and she committed suicide. I had to give that example because people need to understand that rape is not something that many people ever want to talk about, because of the mental, the psychological, the emotional, and sometimes the physical effect. It's a very hard topic to talk about. If you don't take anything else from this video, please note this. Number one, it takes courage for someone who was raped to come out and talk about their experience. And it's because people look down on those who are raped. In our society, people look down on them. Many people never actually develop the confidence to talk about it. It's like they are reliving that moment. It's traumatic. And they continue to live with the side effect for years, hoping that it will get better, it will get better. Mostly because of the kind of society that Nigeria is. Now, don't take this wrongly, but we look down on women who were raped as if they are now damaged goods. I've seen an instance where a girl was suspended from a Catholic school because she was no longer a virgin, even though the whole school knew that she was raped. Does that make sense to you? There's a huge emphasis on a girl being a virgin to the extent that people look down on whoever they believe is no longer a virgin. It's not even guys, it's the girl. It's the girl that has to keep her virginity for her husband. And before you misquote me, I'm not saying that people should sleep around, and I'm not saying that girls shouldn't keep their virginity. I'm just saying that as far as God is concerned, that is actually not what determines your value. That is not. So I'm addressing this because this is one of the reasons why a lot of girls don't come out to share their experience. It is the fear of how people will now look at me differently, because we make them believe that if you're not a virgin, you are not valuable, you have been damaged, and that has to change. The number two thing that I really want you to take out of this video is the fact that in our society in Nigeria, we don't always care about issues until it happens to us or someone close to us, and that has to change. And honestly, quite frankly, that's our number one problem, and that's why we are where we are right now in Nigeria. In terms of politics, the things that we take from our politicians, we don't condemn so many things until it happens to us. Like kidnappings, for example, we won't be on the street protesting until someone close to us is kidnapped, or until a very popular celebrity is kidnapped. Suddenly, people will start protesting, and that needs to change. You see, when someone shares an abuse, the first thing to do is to put yourself in their shoes. And if you cannot put yourself in their shoes, just imagine that, okay, this is someone close to you, your daughter, your wife, your niece, your nephew, your neighbor, just someone that you care about, someone that you're close to. I'm saying this because if your sister should tell you that she was abused or she was raped, your first response would not be that, oh, she must have enjoyed it. No, because that's your sister. The first thing you would naturally do is listen. Whether they are telling the truth or not, if this is someone close to you, you would want to assure them that, you know what, you're safe with me. It's okay, feel free to tell me, open up, tell me what happened. It is important to extend that same courtesy that we would accord to our loved ones, to anyone who talks about abuse, even while we're trying to hear the other side of the story. This is very important because this is one of the reasons why people don't talk, because they know you will shut them down. They know that if you're not related to them, you will shut them down. The number three thing that I'm hoping that you take out of this is, and I've talked about this several times on my show, we need to stop replacing God with men of God. I have absolutely nothing against men of God. It just breaks my heart that in so many churches today in Nigeria, you don't even see Jesus anymore. All you see is Papa, Daddy Gio. We raise people to the point where they can do no wrong, and that's dangerous. I'm not saying that Fatoyinbo is guilty or not. I keep repeating that. I'm just trying to remind you that he's not God. He's a human being. So as much as it's okay to have a pastor, don't ever forget that he did not die for you. He or she was also saved by grace. It breaks God's heart when we put human beings on a pedestal of, oh, they can do no wrong. That is actually idol worshiping. You can respect someone without worshiping them. Only God can do no wrong. Having addressed those three things, let's talk about the questions that people have been raising. Why did she wait for decades? Well, she didn't actually wait for decades. If you watched all 4 videos, which I will encourage you to do, she said that she eventually found her courage to tell one of her sisters, who told the rest of her family. And then her brother was so angry that he went to Fatoyinbo's house with a knife, wanting to stab Fatoyinbo, but Fatoyinbo allegedly begged and said that he didn't know what came over him. She also mentioned in that video that other ministers got involved, like Pastor Wole Soetan as well as Pastor Folarin, that they got involved at that time, but it wasn't settled really. They just said that Pastor Fatoyinbo needed help, and that was the reason why she left COZA Church. Now, another comment that I've been seeing, why didn't she move on? Why now? Please know that, first of all, her husband was aware of this incident a long time ago, and he didn't say anything. Last year, he raised an alarm it died down. Few weeks ago, he went on Instagram. He said they've had several cases regarding this same pastor and his outreach that the man has allegedly not stopped doing this. So he went on Instagram and he said that from Ilorin to Abuja to Lagos to Dubai to Port Harcourt to London, your pastor is leaving a trail of broken women, sexually abused and mentally strangled. So he didn't say anything about his wife's case. He just said that he was outraged to see that this trend has continued and more women are being hurt. However, some of those that were attacking Timi Dakolo for his statement on Instagram happened to know about his wife's case, and they decided to use it to abuse him by saying, "Shebi, your wife also had an affair with the man of God." So once again, if you watch that interview, you hear her addressing this. She said that seeing that comment made her decide, you know what, she's been through enough, that it's time for the world to know her own side of the story. And for the person that keeps saying, why can't she just move on? It's because you actually never move on when you're raped. You cannot really move on. It's hard to move on. You feel stuck. If you don't face the issue and deal with it, it's hard to move on. And I think that's what she's doing now. Another comment that I've seen is that, oh, she's speaking out because Fatoyinbo is successful. She wants to take money from him. Okay, so I think success is relative. Because as far as I'm concerned, Busola is very successful. Her husband is also very successful. Both of them are also very popular. And I'm not saying that Instagram is the measure of success, but if you have more than 750,000 Instagram followers, as Busola does, you get mouth. Okay, in Nigeria of today, you get mouth. It's not as if they are poor. Busola and her husband travel the world with their children. She attended New York Film Academy. I mean, not to talk about her husband's success. I'm not sure why people think that she's interested in Fatoyinbo's money. That's why she's talking about this. I actually feel like people are quicker to protect somebody who is popular or someone that they know and judge the victim for speaking out, mainly because the other person has money, which to me is double standard. If the man in question were to be a mechanic, so many people would not doubt her story. We need to stop using double standard when it comes to pastors and politicians in Nigeria. These people are supposed to lead by example when it comes to being accountable for their actions, not for us to be protecting them and shushing anyone who says something about them. Now, having said that, I also believe that many people are only taking this seriously mainly because it's Busola Dakolo and she's a celebrity, which is wrong. We shouldn't take things seriously only when the victim happens to be someone that we know and respect, or someone that we care about, or someone that is a celebrity. In fact, so many of his church members are paying attention for the first time. For the first time, they are willing to listen simply because it's Busola Dakolo. It shouldn't be like that. There are so many people that are hurting mainly because no one believed their story. No one believed them, and we need to be doing that. Let's practice treating everyone equally. I know you don't care about my opinion, but I believe as a water when she came out. The moment Fatoyinbo said that God told him not to say anything, I definitely believed as a water. I don't know about you, but you know, if my pastor was accused of rape and he comes to church and says God told him not to say anything, I cannot continue to listen to such a person preach. That's just me. So for all the parents that are watching me, when the story came out, my advice would have been to talk to your children, to ask them questions, because you may be surprised what some children are going through or what they're hiding from you. Now, is it possible for someone to lie about rape and frame another person? Definitely it is. But it is also important that while you're waiting to hear the other side of the story, to hear the other person's story, that you don't make the person that spoke up, you don't make them feel worthless for speaking up, because you just never know. They may be lying, but they may also be saying the truth. So be open-minded, because the side effects of rape are many. It literally changes people's lives. Their self-esteem is gone. They can be depressed for a long time. They get flashbacks. They have nightmares. Some of them become suicidal. They have trust issues. You know, it becomes hard for them to trust anyone. Some of them have eating disorder. Some of them have sleep disorder. Some of them may have STDs. Some of them have trouble enjoying sex later on in life. They live in fear. You know, they get overprotective of their own children. Like if you take their daughter somewhere, they get worried, wondering what could be going on because of what they went through. On top of that, there is this stigma that the society places on them, which is why so many people would rather not deal with it, would rather not talk about it. But that doesn't mean the pain goes away. It doesn't. And for those saying that how can one person rape you twice in a week, oh, she must have enjoyed it. Wow. First of all, we know of fathers who rape their children under the same roof for several years. Okay, please don't ever say that, oh, she must have enjoyed it, or oh, he must have enjoyed it, because men are also raped. And for those saying, where is her evidence, I just want to remind you that no one actually ever plans to be raped, so they don't walk around with the camera to take evidence. And when someone is being raped, trust me, they are not thinking of, okay, so I need to get evidence. What evidence can I gather as this is happening right now? They're not thinking about evidence. No, they're in shock. They are traumatized, and people process shock differently. Now, in Busola's defense, she has always been described as the quiet type. Once again, I'm addressing this because there are so many people that will not come out to talk about their experience if we continue to shut them down, if we continue to come up with all kinds of reasons why they may be lying, because we don't know. You don't know. They may be lying, but they may also not be lying. So if we really want a decline in rape in Nigeria, we need to start letting victims feel safe to tell their side of the story, so that perpetrators will be afraid knowing that their story may be out. So we need to stop blaming victims. We need to stop shaming victims, especially while we're waiting to hear the other side of the story. Now, I'm not saying that the pastor is guilty. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, while you're waiting to hear both sides of the story, treat the victim with respect. I look forward to hearing Pastor Fatoyinbo's side in church tomorrow. I know that a lot of people are planning protests at his churches. I look forward to hearing his side of the story besides the statement that he released. Until then, you guys don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.